Well, are we live? Are we live? Are we here? Welcome everybody to Rog Edwards TV. And I'm Rog, or Roger, if you prefer. Thank you so much for joining this live feed. Actually, if you are watching this live feed today, on Tuesday, the 30th of December, I'd just like to thank you so much for joining live, joining as is, joining as I'm sat here in front of the camera in the live environment. However, if you're not watching this live and you are watching it tomorrow or in a week's time or in 6 months' time, I'd like to thank you as well, because I really do appreciate you taking the time to joining us and celebrating 2025. If you are watching this live, what'd be really, really good is if you could put a little comment down in the chat. Just say hello, say hi, or you could put one of those wavy emojis in, just so that I know that you're live with me today and I can give you a little shout out. For example, I've got Susie7865 here. Happy New Year, Rog. So Susie, thank you so much. We've got Greeningdom. Hello. How are you doing? Great to see you. Thanks for tuning in. And my old friend, Pascal Fintoni, tuning in from Durham. Now, my friend Pascal Fintoni, I don't think a lot of you probably realize, but Pascal and I actually run a marketing podcast. We've done over 130 episodes, and they're hidden away on LinkedIn. So the YouTube channel doesn't really intersect with that. But Pascal is a great friend of mine, known him for many, many years, and he's tuning in from Durham. In fact, Pascal's just returned from France, where he's been spending time over Christmas. I've got Simon Trains is here. Hey, Simon, how are you doing? Been watching quite a lot of your videos. You were on the North Berwick line not long ago, and you stopped at Walliford, which is literally about half a mile from where we live up here in Tranent. And I've got Alistair, I've got Investag as well. So do please keep saying hello in the comments down below. So every year, I like to do a wrap up of the year. Have a look back at some of the videos that we've put together. What's worked? What hasn't worked? What have you liked? What haven't you liked as much? What can we do in 2026 to keep the channel interesting, to keep the channel new, to keep things interesting? Also got Bather 100 is in the house now. Simon Train says, don't get me started on the North Berwick line. I was on the North Berwick line less than an hour ago and absolutely everything was fab. D Black 1531 has tuned in from Berwick upon Tweed. I was in Berwick upon Tweed today. The next video, which you'll get to see hopefully on Saturday, if I manage to get everything edited, is a little train versus bus trip. And I was down in Berwick upon Tweed this afternoon. The weather wasn't as good as it was up here in Scotland, I have to say. So yeah, every year we do a wrap up. We have a look at what's gone well, what hasn't got well. And I'd like your feedback on what you like on the channel, what videos you like, which videos and subjects you don't like as much of perhaps, and we can sort of work out where we're going to go together over the coming years. Now, Mrs. E is going to join me in a few minutes' time to say hello. Mrs. E is my rock. She supports everything I've done on Rog Edwards TV. She appears in some videos. As you know, Mrs. E had a knee replacement operation just over a year ago, and she's done phenomenally well. She's walking really well. She's back in the gym. She's walking quite long distances. So everything's been going fine. So she's going to pop up the stairs in a few moments' time to say hello to everybody. She's also bringing a special guest to this live stream, somebody who you may not have met, somebody who we could probably dedicate an entire channel to, if truth be told, but my wife is going to bring our cat up to meet everybody. So our cat Lottie, assuming that Mrs. E can catch her, is on her way up the stairs now to say hello. We'll see how that goes. Jim Wilson is here from North Canada. Steve Marsh is fashionably late, says Steve. And I've got something to say to Steve, but before we get to Steve, here is Mrs. E and Lottie. Look at this, Lottie. You've got to look at the camera. The camera's up here. The camera's up there.
No, she's not going to look at anybody.
Oh, look at that. Isn't she fluffy? Isn't she fluffy?
She's our big baby.
Now, the thing is, we got Lottie 14 years ago. We also got another cat called Sid at the same time, and they were tiny, tiny little kittens. And the thing is that they grew and grew and grew. And look, Lottie is so fluffy. And look at this. Look at this tummy. Look at this tummy. We found out after we got them that they were both part Maine Coon, and Maine Coons are really, really big, fluffy cats. So that's why when you see me in my videos, I'm often covered in cat hair, and that's all from Lottie. She's an absolute star. So, Mrs. E, now that you're here, tell everybody about how you've been getting on with your knee.
Well, I've been doing really well. It's coming on fine. It just aches in the morning, a bit stiff. But other than that, it's great. It's nice to be able to get back out walking and doing everything that I couldn't do before. So, but I just want to say a big thank you to everybody that's asked after me, who's followed my progress, and a great big thank you to everybody for your support. It does mean a lot to us. Thank you very much.
And we do actually have, I don't know whether you'll be able to hold this, a glass of wine each. You do know that we like our red wine. So let's just do a quick toast. Cheers. Here's to you. Thank you for tuning in. And cheers down the hatch, everybody.
I'll have a drink in a minute.
One extra little tipple we'll have is actually Mrs. E's birthday tomorrow. Mrs. E has her birthday in Hogmanay, which is a good way of burying it, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
So a toast to Mrs. E. So we've also got Merry Raven in the house. And Edinburgh and beyond. Hi, Michael. How are you doing? Good to see you on the live stream. As I was just about to say, shout out for Steve Marsh. Funnily enough, I met Steve many, 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 many years ago before he became a YouTuber. And we just didn't know this, but we both worked at Meadowbank Sports Centre in Edinburgh. I was teaching a class called Body Combat, and Steve was part of the marketing team at Meadowbank Sports Centre. And pretty much every week when I went along to teach my class, Steve was there. We'd have a bit of banter. And then when I saw one of Steve's very early videos, you know, you get that moment, you think, how do I know this person? But I just couldn't get there in my head. And I started, first of all, I went to LinkedIn, tried to find him on LinkedIn. And it wasn't until a couple of days later that I was driving past Meadowbank Stadium. And I thought, oh, do you know what? That's where Steve Marsh is from. And of course, Steve's gone on to create such a whopping great big channel. Always a pleasure to watch it. Don't know how you manage to do most of it, Steve, to be perfectly honest. Oh my goodness, we've got Let's Make a Trip in the house. Mark's in the house. Met Mark last year. Alan 92, thank you for coming along. And Camelot Girl 27 from way down on the south coast. So thank you so much, everybody. What I thought we'd just very quickly do is I want to get your views on what you like. Oh, Lottie's making a lot of noise.
Yeah,
now.
I'm going to go.
Mrs. E might have to go and take her out.
Yeah, I'll go and pop down with her. So pop downstairs. That's mine. Thank you. I'll take it with me.
You take it with you. If you leave it here, I'll drink it.
Cheers, everybody, and Happy New Year for when it comes. And thank you again for all your support. Okay, we'll see you soon. Bye.
So, what I really want to try and find out is what's working, what isn't, what should we drop, what should we carry on doing. So the global subject for the channel is travel adventures and a little drop of history. And in 2025, I suppose the travel adventures have predominantly been hotel reviews. And I've carried on doing the reviews of the former British Transport hotels, those 38 hotels, which were built in the late 1800s, early 1900s. They were all privatised in the 1940s and brought under the ownership of British Rail under the banner British Transport Hotels. And then in the mid-80s, Margaret Thatcher actually sold them all off. And that's why some of them are high-end luxury hotels. Some of them were demolished, some of them were turned into flats, and some of them, like the Britannia hotels, are not particularly high end or luxury or anything like that. I've really enjoyed doing the British Transport Hotel reviews, and I was delighted to be able to get to do the Caledonian in Edinburgh, my hometown, and of course the fabulous St Pancras Renaissance Hotel down in London. Now, those two hotels are really quite expensive, but fortunately, I managed to get a really good, decent rate for the stay. The ones that have eluded me are the Balmoral and Glen Eagles. Yeah, believe it or not, Glen Eagles is one of the former British Transport hotels. I've not been able to see a room rate for those, believe it or not, below £700. So it might be quite a long time before I get round to doing a review of those hotels. But what do you think of the British Transport Hotel reviews? I just love them. There's just something about them. It is history personified. And when you're a bit of a train geek like me, well, you know, you just can't help yourself, can you? Yeah, Simon Train says the former railway hotels have been very interesting to watch. Thank you so much for that. Of course, we've also done some hotel reviews of budget hotels. Those have done actually phenomenally well. And it does remind me that not everybody wants reviews of five-star hotel, five-star luxury. Sometimes, you know, a travel lodge or a sleepers or what's the other one? Premier Inn Hub. They are just as interesting as the super duper railway hotels. So hopefully carry on doing a few of those, but maybe in some little different locations. When I do the hotel reviews, I also tend to like to try and have a wander around the local area, have a look, rather than just focusing in on the hotel itself. I think sometimes it can be a little bit more interesting to poke around the local area, see what you can uncover. And it's a bit like Steve, I think, you know, when you're wandering around, you just get drawn to things. Your curiosity will say, oh, let's go down here or let's go down there. And it's all good. DB Cooper is saying the Air Railway Hotel will be a cheap review. Yes, of course. Have they demolished it yet? I did see the Air Hotel. I don't think I've actually been to Air, but it was surrounded by scaffolding. So they're either demolishing it, or I did think maybe they were going to renovate it, but I guess not. I guess not. I tell you what has really been quite popular is only two videos that I've done so far, and they are the Offbeat Edinburgh videos. Have you seen the Offbeat Edinburgh videos? They've done really, really well, trying to find parts of the city that tourists wouldn't really go to. You know, everybody flocks to the castle, everybody does the Royal Mile, everybody goes to Holyrood, everybody does Princes Street. But, you know, some of the places that the locals know, perhaps, rather than the tourists. There's some fabulous places in Edinburgh that people don't go to. Somebody did comment on one of my videos and say, if you want to really do offbeat Edinburgh, you're going to have to go to Wester Hales and Niddry, and you know the real interesting places in Edinburgh. Well, I think we might have to give those a miss, because if I'm wandering around with a camera like that, I might fear for my safety. So, interestingly enough, I was down in Dunbar today, in East Lothian, doing a bit of filming, and as I was pointing the camera up at the Dunbar townhouse, these two ladies came up to me and they said, excuse me, are you Rog that does Rog Vlog on YouTube? And I said, yes, I am. And she, oh, we really like your videos, and we've just in the last few days been to the Sheephead pub in Edinburgh, one of the oldest pubs in Edinburgh, if not on the whole of Scotland. And they saw the video and they went to the Sheep's Head as a result of seeing the video. And to me, that just makes my day when I see somebody who has actually acted upon something that I've put out on a video. So that was a really nice moment. I really did enjoy that. So I think maybe more offbeat stuff next year. And I did wonder whether there was a whole series of mini-series there, Offbeat Glasgow, perhaps, Offbeat Manchester. But the only caveat would be maybe you need to know where you are intimately in order to do the offbeat style video. Now, of course, I've lived in Edinburgh for 32 years. So I know the area. I know where all the nooks and crannies are. I don't know where the nooks and crannies are in Glasgow or Manchester or Leeds or wherever it might be. So maybe offbeat Edinburgh is really just offbeat in the local area. Really good. Thank you, Steve. Steve's been really nice to me. He's just said, I'm really good at doing these lives. Yeah, I have to say the podcasts do help with the live environment. And Mr. Fintoni, Pascal Fintoni, who I said to you before, he's joining me here from Durham. He's originally from France. Pascal is a proper film director. Pascal has made proper films that have been on in cinemas. So he you know, I'm just a guy wandering around with a DJI Pocket 3 and a DJI Action 4 camera. Pascal has got the full rigs, you know, the lights, the silver discs, the everything. If you want to know about directing movies, Pascal's your man. Pascal is your man. So let me know whether that's working for you. The offbeat Edinburgh videos, I think we should try to do a few more of those. And I do like to do the walkabouts. I think the walkabouts are very cleansing. Just finding new places. I'd like to get out and about a bit further. Obviously couldn't travel much last year with Mrs. E and her knee. Hopefully this year Mrs. E will be able to get out and about with me a little bit more, but maybe more walkabout videos will be coming. Maybe some more live streams like this if people like them and watch them. We'll see. And I do food reviews. The quest for the next best breakfast in Edinburgh has been quite popular, and that was all kick-started by the fact that my favourite cafe, Renrock Cafe, closed down. My friend Pelham, after so long, just decided to give up, and he's now actually running a cafe in Dunbar, but he doesn't own it. He just cooks in the kitchen, and that's worth going to in Dunbar. That's fabulous. But that led to quite a nice little set of breakfast videos. But I don't really think that I'm a food review vlogger. I'm not like Gary Eats. You know, if I do food reviews, it tends to be very quickly, and it's part of another video. And I don't sit there and eat every single scrap and every single morsel and do the full Greg Wallace and John Turode, although it's not them anymore, is it? Grace Dent and whoever that is taking over. But I don't think that full food reviews are really part of what I do. I think it's more the traveling. What about actual travel day videos? Steve, you might have an opinion on this. I know you do travel day videos. How popular are they? I sort of stopped doing them as much. For example, when we went to Lanzarote last year and we went to Fuerteventura this year, I decided not to film the trip because I thought, you know what, everybody's seen 1 million flights to Lanzarote and 1 million flights to Fuerteventura and Tenerife. Do they really want to see another one? But I guess the answer is that people do. People do like consistency. I mean, you only have to look at a program like A Place in the Sun. They've been going for 25 years, and pretty much every single program that they put out is exactly the same script and almost exactly the same location. So sometimes consistency works. So the time is getting away from me. I did say that I was going to keep this to about half an hour. So let's just have a look in the comments. What are people saying? Edinburgh and Bond is saying Balmoral is £700 in May. I don't think it's ever going to come below £700, Michael. Pascal says that he loves the Offbeat series, and so did his family in France. Did you force them to watch it, Pascal? Susie's saying, will you be doing any more videos in Dunbar next year? I was actually in Dunbar today, Susie, as I said before, although only briefly. I will definitely come back to Dunbar. It's one of my favourite places in the whole of the world. And Pascal says as well, Pascal, you would expect this being a filmmaker. Pascal said he likes the videos from St Abbs where they filmed Avengers Endgame and Preston Mill where they filmed Outlander. Any plans to do other movie locations? Well, definitely. It's just a question of finding them and getting to them. So if people are up for that, I shall get those done. David Will 58. Hi, Rog. Just watching now from the start. Hope you've got a red wine. Yes, I have. Here it is. And Steve's coming back on the question. I think travel day videos work really well. They are so real. I'm against anything AI. So authentic is best. I absolutely agree with you there, Steve. Maybe I should just take a leaf out of your book and just film absolutely everything. I mean, I was on buses and trains today. I was on a really rather busy bus, and that was fine. Mark from Let's Make a Trip says extreme day trips could work with an early flight from Edinburgh. Busy day, but one or two have gone. You've had a few travel disasters this year, Mark, haven't you? I've noticed a few. Mark was up in Edinburgh, and we went and had lunch down in Leith. It was an absolutely gorgeous day. DB Cooper says extreme day trip market has been conquered. That's fair enough. Some things don't work for me, like Tenerife, says Edinburgh and beyond. Okay, so let's just move on. What I was wondering is, I think it's about time we had a few questions. Now, some of you were kind enough to either leave comments on earlier videos, or some of you messaged me on Instagram. And I'll start with Merry Raven. Now, isn't Merry Raven one of the best handles that you've ever heard? I love it when I see a comment from Merry Raven, simply because it says Merry Raven. Merry Raven says, what's my favourite red wine? Well, I do like my Malbec, but I have to say my favourite red wine is Zinfandel from California. Now, Mrs. E and I found a brand of Zinfandel about 20 years ago called Ravenswood Lodi Zinfandel. It's absolutely superb. It's only about £11 a bottle, and it is just absolutely gorgeous. It's very hard to find these days. Sainsbury's had it for a while. I think Majestic wines have it from time to time. But if we see it, we buy it. Another great Zinfandel is 1,000 Stories, the bourbon cask wine. That is absolutely glorious. It's like drinking nectar. It's absolutely great. Merry Raven also asks what Mrs. E's tipple is. Well, Mrs. E is red wine through and through as well. We do like G&T. We have the odd G&T, and I don't mind the odd gin martini. And very occasionally, I will have a vodka martini, but it has to be stirred. Definitely not shaken. Oh, and Merry Raven also says, do I script my videos and work everything out in detail? Well, the answer's no. If I write anything down, it will just be the introduction, the bit that you really have to nail at the start to get people to watch. I usually write that down and run it over in my head a few times. Pretty much the rest of it, I'll write notes, sort of bullet points. I'll know places that I want to go, and it'll be arranged in a sort of order and a sort of story. But a lot of it is just reacting to what you see. And as I said before, what's down this road? What's down that road? And, oh, what would happen if we went up there? Obviously, if there's a lot of history involved in the video, I will do a bit of research, and I'll write down that the Forth Bridge was built in 18 whatever it was, and the townhouse in Dunbar was built in whenever it was. But sometimes it's nice, as Steve said before, to be authentic, just to be yourself, and just to react to the environment. So TDK says, have you found the next best breakfast venue yet, or is the quest still on? Well, I haven't really, so I guess the quest is still on. So if you've got any suggestions and you live in Edinburgh, let me know and I'll go and try it out. Stu89 says, how do you keep motivated this time of year with this Scottish weather? Do you know, it's funny today. I went on a trip down from Edinburgh to Berwick-upon-Tweed, and it was an absolutely glorious blue sky, no clouds at all in the sky. As soon as I got south of Dunbar, it went really grey and dark, and it started raining. I did the video in Berwick, and then I came back up to Edinburgh. When I got back here, blue skies, no clouds, absolutely glorious. I should have stayed here all day. Yeah, the weather is a problem, but the biggest problem we have in Scotland is the light. It doesn't get fully light until about 10:30 in the morning, and then it starts going dark about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So yeah, your window of opportunity for filming isn't very wide. And if it's raining, one of the problems I do have is the DJI Pocket 3 is not waterproof. So I really should use my action camera oblique GoPro equivalent a lot more. And I did do that when I went to the Glasgow Christmas market because it was absolutely bucketing down. But I used the action camera and it was absolutely fine. So I shouldn't really worry about the weather. I just do sometimes. I do. Steve says, I only like white wine, I think, because I only like cold wine, which now that's a really good question, Steve. Mrs. E and I always chill our red wines pretty much. So this is cold. And I actually think I used to have a wine man used to come to the house called John the Wine Man, and that's another story for another day as to how I got to know him. But he once said that when people said that red wine should be served at room temperature, they were thinking back to historical times when people were living in castles without heating. So room temperature was cold, wasn't it? So if you want to put it in the fridge, put it in the fridge. It tastes fabulous cold. It also tastes fabulous warm, so do that if you want it. What else have we got? Pascal says, which 2025 episode means the most to you personally? I can't think of a 2025 episode yet, Pascal, because I've not really reviewed the episodes properly, but the one that stuck in my mind from the previous year is the one I did at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. My grandfather used to take me to Blackpool Pleasure Beach every week after school, and he was absolutely enamored by the Grand National roller coaster because it performs this magic trick where the two trains swap sides between each ride. And it wasn't until after he died that I worked out how they performed this trick. It's called a Mobius loop. It's really quite interesting. And when I was recording that video, I was actually feeling incredibly emotional. And if you watch very closely in the video, I actually do start to tear up as I was recording that segment. So that's probably my favorite from the last few years. Alan's just posted there, I need to get myself on the Waverley. That's the steamship that comes out of, that's the steamship that goes Doon the Water from Glasgow down to Arran, etc. What else have we got? Ragdoll says, thank you so much for showing us so many hidden parts of Scotland. Is there anywhere you haven't been yet that you'd really like to go in 2026? I need to get up to Arran. I need to get up to Oban, and I need to get up that side of the country. I've never been. And really do need to go there. The train journey is very, very long. There's also a railway hotel up at the Kyle of Lochalsh, and that takes at least a day to get to. So yeah, I definitely need to get myself up to the top of Scotland. Simon Train says the Waverley is something that I think there's a lot of us want to get on the Waverley at some point. So we're coming to the end of this. Guys, thank you so much for all the comments that you've put here in the live chat. That's really kind of you. And what I will do after this is I will go through and like them all. Obviously, I can't. I've got about 5. I've got my iPad screen down here, and I've got my phone over here with some notes on. So I do want to give shout outs to a few people who have supported the channel over the last year. Now, obviously, I can't say hi to everybody, so big apologies if I don't shout you out, but if I don't shout you out, I still do appreciate the fact that you support the channel, really do. So the aforementioned Mary Raven, Steve Marsh I've mentioned already, but thank you, Steve. You comment on pretty much every video I do, and that is so appreciated. Alan92, you also comment on pretty much every video, so very much appreciated there. Got John, is it Ailman or Aliman? I apologise if I've said that wrong. Camelot Girl 27 from down on the south coast. Always a pleasure to see you commenting on the channel. Little Wing 1974. Little Wing's a great handle as well, isn't it? Almost as good as Merry Raven. Trond Helland. I've got Sandy and Greg H from over in Canada. I think they found my channel after watching my appearance on Let's Make a Trip. So thanks, Mark, for putting us in touch there. There's Gina and her family from Germany, of course. Harvey Fleming, Richard, the McDermott Files. I think, Michael, you know the McDermott Files, don't you? Andy from Smog on the Line. He does some great walkabout videos. Michael from Edinburgh and Beyond. There you go. Shout out for Edinburgh. There you go. Fraser, Family Adventures. Phil Pedlow. And finally, Alex McWhirter often comments on my railway hotel videos. Alex is actually a journalist for Business Traveller magazine. So he writes some really good travel articles. If you look up Business Traveller magazine on the web, you know, they do some really in-depth flight reviews and reviews of hotels, and Alex is one of the writers for that, and he's a good writer, so it's always nice to see him on the channel. So guys, we've come to the end of the half an hour, and I always do like to try and stick to time. So I think all I want to do now is to say once again, thank you so much for supporting the channel over the last year. Hopefully we can grow the channel a little bit more. Sometimes, you know, sometimes I don't understand the YouTube algorithm. I'll put together a video which I think, do you know what, this is such a good video, and it does absolutely nothing. It just goes up for a little bit and then completely flatlines. And then I'll do another video which I say to Mrs. E, you know, I don't like this one. Half the footage is blurred and I don't think I was on top of my game. Put it out there and bang, it goes mental. So you really just don't know, do you? And sometimes it can get a little bit wearing. Sometimes you think, YouTube algorithm's against me. I know it probably isn't, but that's how it feels sometimes. But we will stick with it. We will stick with it. So what I would like to do is say once again, thank you very much. Cheers. Here's to you. Glass of red wine. I think this is Malbec. I hope you all have a fantastic 2026. I hope we bump into each other either online or in real life at some point. If you do see me wandering around the streets of a town somewhere with camera in hand, please do come up and say hello. It means the world when people stop me and say, is that you on YouTube? Why do you wear that silly hat? You know, anyway, cheers. Here's to you, everybody. And I hope you have a great 2026. And now I've got to find the end stream button, haven't I? It's down here somewhere. There it is. See you guys.